Welcome to Silverstone for rounds 7, 8 and 9 of the 2017 Radical Challenge Championship. These cars could really stretch their legs on the Grand Prix circuit and in a championship where we've had 4 different winners out of the first 6 races. Let's look at the grid. It's Bradley Smith on pole position and alongside car number 3, Danny Keeley. Row 2 of the grid, the current championship leader, Jack Lang, has alongside number 22, Oliver Barker. And row 3 of the grid sees Richard Baxter line up alongside the reigning champion, Steve Burgess. So the cars are on the grid. We're waiting for the lights to go out, and as the revs begin to rise, it is a poor start by the look of things from Jack Manchester, who goes nowhere, and not a great start from the red and yellow car of Danny Keeley from the outside of the front row of the grid. And it's going to be Bradley Smith, number 21, who sweeps his way through and into the lead of the race. A double winner at Donington for the opening 2 rounds. There's a spin in the middle of the pack. That is facing the wrong way, Spencer Bourne. Thankfully, everybody manages to avoid him. Their cars brake right or brake left, but Spencer Bourne, having rotated, will drop to the very tail end of the field. It is, by the look of things, Bradley Smith that leads the race, and the orange car of Jack Lang, the current championship leader, sitting there in second position. Jack Lang had a win in the first of the races that we had at Spa-Francorchamps last time out, but at the moment he's giving second best to the 3 times Radical champion Bradley Smith. So it's Smith that leads, the orange car Jack Lang in second position. Third place is number 22 Oliver Barker, and the blue and yellow car means that it's Steve Burgess who sits there in 4th position. There is the light blue car number 15 of Jack Manchester, who stalled on the grid and went nowhere. He's way down towards the 2/3 of the way down through the field. So here they go, the poor starting Danny Keeley from the outside of the front row of the grid has slotted himself through into 5th position as we're side by side this time through what is the Vale and Club Corner. And that's the black car of Dominic Jackson fighting away with number 11. That's the car of the Baileys, Aaron and Lee, who share over the course of this weekend. There goes through number 14, that's John McLeod, started down in 21st on the grid and is trying to make progress, as is this car here as well. The red and yellow car of Danny Keeley started second and is currently running in 5th place, the top 5 having broken away from Richard Baxter, who completes the top 6 at the moment. One car running very, very wide coming out of Abbey and up towards Farm. That looked as though it was the number 64 car of Tim and Brian Harvey, who share again over the course of this weekend, and also run in the team championship where drivers share the car over the course of the 3 races that will take place. Everybody feeding their way out of Aintree Corner onto the Wellington Straight. And as they now start to head their way up the Wellington Straight, it is Bradley Smith that leads. It looks as though Danny Keeley is starting to put the reigning champion Steve Burgess under a little bit of pressure there, but you can see just how busy it is further back down through the order. That looks as though the number 11 car of the Baileys is under pressure from what is Christian Jeffrey, who's been racing out, of course, in Barbados in the championship out there. And he is also bottled up behind, I think, the number 64 car of Tim and Brian Harvey. So that's a good little squabble. Over the start-finish line come the leaders. Now just looking as though he's starting to stretch his legs, Bradley Smith. Certainly also looks as though the man from the outside of the front row, the good Danny Keeley, is getting ever closer to mounting a challenge for 4th place over the reigning champion Steve Burgess, the man from Nottingham. But everybody's safely through Copse Corner, for where Spencer Bourne had the spin on the first lap and has not subsequently reappeared. So out of the race for Spencer, first retiree of the weekend. Whilst carving their way through Beckett's Corner, you can see just how busy it is. The light blue car of Jack Manchester still trying to make up progress. And here now we've got the battle on fully for 4th place. Steve Burgess under pressure by the look of things from Danny Keeley. Couldn't quite see on the camera as they came up towards what is the braking area for Stoke Corner whether he's able to squeeze his way through. Well, that's a fantastic fight that is now fully formed by the look of things. We've also got a good fight going on for the lead of the team championship at the moment. Number 64 car of Tim and Brian Harvey just leading Aaron and Lee Bailey's machine. In towards the braking area for the Vale, the top 5 or 6 cars go through, then the 2 red cars fighting over top honours in the team championship, and then this white, green and yellow car of Christian Jeffrey fighting away with Stuart Maloney, both of those lined up on the 6th row of the grid together. We're also side by side by the look of things. Lee and Aaron Bailey going side by side with Tim and Brian Harvey's car for what will be the top honours in the team championship, and they go wheel to wheel through what is Abbey Corner up towards Farm, and who's going to reassert themselves in the head? They're still side by side out of Farm in towards the braking area for Village Corner. Christian Jeffrey tries to dive up the inside, but gaining the place is Lee and Aaron Bailey. So the number 11 car now leads the team championship. Christian Jeffrey up a place, and down a couple of positions is the number 64 car of Tim and Brian Harvey, who then gets a big wiggle on trying to get the power down coming out of Aintree Corner. Is in danger of losing a further place here onto the Wellington Straight. Cars queuing up behind. Stuart Maloney is the first of those. The number 64 car under pressure. Stuart Maloney has a look at the inside as they head in towards the brake area for the Brooklands. They're still side by side all the way through the left-hander, which then gives the inside line for the next corner for the Harvey's machine. And well, Stuart Maloney is still braving it out all the way around the outside. Let's have a look and see whether he's got the job done. No, he hasn't. He still resides behind the number 64 car, but that is a fantastic fight that is going on between those. Here we are, still now squabbling for 4th and 5th up towards Copse Corner. That was Steve Burgess still under pressure from Danny Keeley, who has not been able to pick his pocket. And then this batch of cars coming up now towards Copse Corner. It does look as though Stuart Maloney has indeed been able to go through, so gaining another place over the number 64 car. All cars just running wide coming out of Copse Corner. Need to be careful they stay within the confines of the circuit, but all the way down through the order there are some great battles going on in this 7th round of the 2017 Radical Challenge Championship, not least of which is the light blue car of Jack Manchester, who started 8th on the grid, still trying to work his way up through the order at this stage. He's going to be down just outside of the top 10 currently. Here up towards what is Stowe Corner comes our car in 4th position. And you can see just how much pressure he's having to soak up. These two slowing each other up a little bit and possibly bringing the light blue, pink and white car of Richard Baxter into the mix, who sits there in 6th position. So with the race continuing, it still looks as though Bradley Smith is comfortably out front and leading. Elsewhere down through the order, there's battles going on. There is the light blue car of Jack Manchester. He is actually, I said he was outside of the top 10. He's actually down towards the bottom of the mid-teens at this stage and still has got a chunk of work to do. There's a spin further down through the order. That is Paul Allen and Jason Redding's car that has had a spin under braking for what is the area of the Vale. Should be able to rejoin, just needs to wait for a gap in the traffic and will get going, but that car is now tumbled down outside of the top 20. You can see just how busy it is here as the cars go past the wing and then start to flick their way in towards a very fast right-hander at Abbey before they flick left at Farm and up towards the braking area for the loop. Jack Manchester still looking to try and make progress. Still under pressure is the number 64 car of the Harveys, and this trying to sneak up the inside, couldn't quite make it stick. That looked as though that might be Mark Maloney trying to squeeze his way through. Well, the place was lost earlier on to Stuart Maloney. Now Mark Maloney's trying to return the favour. Steve Burgess in 4th place, still under this pressure from the car that lined up on the outside of the front row of the grid. He cannot shake away as much as he tries Danny Keeley. Danny Keeley trying to squeeze his way through as they come out of what is Luffield Corner and up towards Woodcote, but the reigning champion using all of his experience to try and hang on to the place. Takes a slightly tighter line going over the start-finish line, forcing Danny Keeley to the outside, but he can't quite draw himself alongside as they head through Copse Corner. So still it's Steve Burgess in 4th place. 5th place is Danny Keeley, and all the time now closing in 6th place is Richard Baxter. That pink and light blue car is looming ever larger in the mirrors of Danny Keeley, and from attack he might have to consider defence before too much longer, as these cars are holding each other up now, and not only are they falling into the clutches of the 6th place car, but it's allowing the front 3 to pull away. You can see Bradley Smith has built up the advantage between himself and Jack Lang, who's still in 2nd, and the blue and white car of Oliver Barker in 3rd. And this is the fantastic fight for 4th place. This is the opportunity for Danny Keeley to squeeze his way through on the brakes as they head up towards Stowe Corner side by side. Steve Burgess saw the car was there, left him room, so Danny Keeley picks the pocket of Steve Burgess and for the moment gets himself up into 4th position. Steve Burgess, though, I'm sure, given any opportunity at all, will want to try and work his way back through. So safely through what is the Vale, up towards Club Corner they'll go. Keeley up to 4th. Steve Burgess, the reigning champion, number 1, now down into 5th position. Richard Baxter still closing all of the time in 6th place. Then a gap back to 7th position. It looks as though at this stage it's Sean Byrne, I think, the ex-Caterham racer, who is there in 7th place. This is a good fight that's going on. John McLeod able to squeeze his way through, as was Mark Richards, and this is over the number 80 car that Peter Tyler shares with Tom Gladys in the team championship. So a couple of places lost there through the Vale and Club Corner for the black and Dayglow car. You can see just how tight it is. Almost everybody, without exception, has somebody to play with here at Silverstone on the Grand Prix track for round 7 of the championship. Here comes our 2nd and 3rd place battle up towards the braking area for Brooklands. Jack Lang, who was runner-up in the championship last year. We've seen Jack racing single-seaters mainly, Formula Jedi, where he was a champion, raced in the BRDC Formula 3 championship for a part season, and is in his 2nd year of Radicals now, looking as though he is going to be one to be considered for overall championship honours. Leading coming into this weekend, finished on all 3 steps of the podium in all 3 races at Spa last time out, and at the moment Oliver Barker, who sits directly behind him, Oliver who's raced in the Radical SR1 championship previously, is looking to try and see what he might be able to do. As for Oliver, he also took a win out at Spa last time through in what was round 5 of the championship. At the moment he is just, I think, struggling for pace a little bit. Jack Lang just extending the gap over the course of the last lap or so. The top 3 looking fairly equally spread. The car just heading out of shot now is the race leader Bradley Smith. Jack Lang in the orange car, the white and blue car is Oliver Barker. Now you can see Danny Keeley. Now he's up to 4th. He's pulling away. He's quicker than the blue and yellow car of Steve Burgess, who has still got not that far away from him the car of Richard Baxter. And then we get the 2 black cars thereafter, which will be Sean Byrne, I would imagine, and Dominic Jackson, former Formula BMW champion over in Germany a few years ago, the Lincolnshire-based driver, returning to racing in the 2017 championship and going well. So out of Club Corner go the pair for 2nd and 3rd place. Bradley Smith still pulling away all of the time, and as they now charge their way through Abbey and up towards Farm, the best of the battles at the moment is probably going to be for 5th and 6th position. Richard Baxter starting to put ever more pressure on the car ahead. Elsewhere down through the order, car number 11 will be leading the team championship. That is the car that Aaron and Lee Bailey share over the course of this weekend and have done so throughout the course of this season. And there is the light blue car of Jack Manchester, still looking to try and pick up places, but finding it very, very difficult to gain an advantage over what are identical cars in reality. So on the Wellington straight, Jack Lang still looking to try and maintain his very slender advantage over Oliver Barker, who had dropped back a few laps ago. Now that may be just to cool things off in the car. It's a very warm day here at Silverstone. Get out of the slipstream at the car, allow the temperatures to come back down, and allow the car to come back to him and then push on again. And that's what it looks like Oliver Barker is potentially doing there. So over the start-finish line goes our race leader, Bradley Smith, on course for victory at this stage. Jack Lang still having to stick his elbows out to hang on to 2nd from Oliver Barker. Really on his own now is Danny Keeley in 4th place, and Steve Burgess, the reigning champion, has got Richard Baxter, another graduate out of the Radical SR1 Cup Championship, very much applying the pressure to him now. Richard at the wheel of that distinctively liveried car. You can't miss it, can you, with its pink flashes to it, light blue and the white as well. And let's see what he might be able to do. He's not close enough yet coming through Beckett's corner. He really needs to be a bit closer to that as they head out of Chapel to get what he wants, is the slipstream onto the Hangar Straight, and he's just not quite going to be close enough at this stage. So Steve Burgess can breathe a relative sigh of relief for the moment, whilst he still resides there in 5th position. Richard Baxter in 6th place, then the 2 black cars in 7th and 8th sitting behind, I should say will be Sean Byrne and Dominic Jackson, who have looked pretty much inseparable as well for the course of this race. So into the braking area for the Vale comes our 5th place car, the reigning champion Steve Burgess. Steve, who claimed to win at Donington Park, his home circuit. He also claimed to win at Spa-Francorchamps. And let's see what he might be able to do here. He's going to struggle to find himself on the podium, I would suggest, because he is dropping ever more away from the cars ahead and is in 5th place with work to do if he wants to feature on the podium, and time is running out rather, because we're past the halfway point of the race. And at the moment Steve Burgess is still more inclined towards defence more than anything. He's not having to defend just as yet, because Richie Baxter just needs to close up another 2 or 3 car lengths would be enough for him then to really apply the pressure to the reigning champion. But as they head out of what is Aintree and onto the Wellington straight again, he's not close enough to pick up the slipstream. See the cars behind. There goes Sean Byrne. He is indeed in what is 7th place. Dominic Jackson in the black number 4 car there in 8th position. 9th place is going to be the number 11 car. That's Aaron and Lee Bailey that share that car. One will do the first race of the weekend, one will do the second race of the weekend, and they will share the car for this slightly longer 3rd race of the weekend. But at the moment they are the leading car in the team championship as they run there in 9th position. Christian Jeffrey in 10th at the moment, and I think 11th place is still Stuart Maloney. Jack Manchester hasn't quite made it through inside the top 12, I don't think, following his start from 8th on the grid. So safely through Copse Corner go the 2 black cars. Sean Byrne having to really work hard to try and keep Dominic Jackson's aspirations at bay. Sean Byrne, who was a Caterham champion a couple of seasons ago. We saw him racing in the British GT Championship last year, switching to Radicals for this year and doing a good job as well. As is Jack Lang. He's doing a good job though of holding off Oliver Barker. This is for 2nd and 3rd position as they head out of Stowe Corner, down in towards the braking area for the Vale, and further down through the order right here this is Christian Jeffrey. So this is 10th, 11th and 12th position. So Jack Manchester, the light blue car, from 8th on the grid on the stall, is now up into 12th position. So he has made a little bit more progress. The best of the fights at the moment, if it's not for 2nd and 3rd, it is probably for these 2 places here, which is going to be 7th and 8th place. Sean Byrne, the Irishman, holding off the Lincolnshire lad, Dominic Jackson, as they thread their way out of Vale, round through Club Corner. The Bailey's red and gold machine not sitting overly far behind, so a trio fighting over 7th, 8th and you could almost argue 9th position as they turn their way through Abbey and up towards Farm yet again. So flat out on the throttle, then onto the brakes, down a couple of gears, in towards the right-hander at Village Corner. Quick squirt on the throttle before they're back on the brakes with a slightly tighter left-hander at the loop. Very easy to let the car run wide there. Of course, you're then on the power and flat out through Aintree Corner, which brings you onto the Wellington Straight. And as there on the Wellington Straight, already turning his way through Brooklands and up towards Luffield, comes Jack Lang under this constant pressure from Oliver Barker. And just look towards the car that sits behind them. Danny Keeley is beginning to reel them in as well. So Danny Keeley's done great work since getting through and past Steve Burgess and up into that 4th position. He really has pulled away enormously from the reigning champion and is now handing himself every possibility of featuring on the podium in this first race of the weekend. Jack Lang in the orange car in 2nd, the blue car Oliver Barker in 3rd place, the red car with its yellow flashes is Danny Keeley in 4th position. So it's almost now a fully formed trio for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place as they flick their way through Beckett, out of Chapel Curve and back onto the Hanger Straight once more, with almost the whole length of the Hanger Straight being the advantage that number 21 Bradley Smith has been able to build up here. So Oliver Barker not quite as yet looking to try and attack Jack Lang. He's keeping one eye on his mirrors at the same time as they, all three of them, turn their way through Stowe. So the trio work their way out of Stowe Corner. Oliver Barker running a little bit wide that time coming out of Stowe Corner. That might give Danny Keeley the opportunity onto the braking area for the Vale, but Oliver Barker's got the move covered, protects the inside line, and Danny Keeley is just going to have to try and scratch his head and work out whether there might be another opportunity elsewhere around the course of this lap to try and work his way through into the podium places. You can see the yellow square with the black cross on the back indicating that Danny Keeley is still a relative novice when it comes to motorsport, but he's done superbly well at this stage and is looking to try and get himself into the podium places. Oliver Barker, though, onto the brakes, turns the car in towards Village Corner. No opportunity there for Danny Keeley. Up towards the loop, he's too far away to try and throw one up the inside, so he needs to try and get a good exit out of Aintree Corner and then pick up the toe onto the Wellington Straight again. If he can do that, he might be able to give himself an opportunity to try something at Brooklands. If it's the inside at Brooklands, then unfortunately that's the outside for the next corner at Luffield. You're almost better to brave it out around the outside at Brooklands to give you the inside for Luffield, but either way, not quite close enough. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th still pretty much on the same piece of tarmac together as they are about to come through and conclude yet another lap. And it is a lap which still sees Jack Lang there in 2nd position, Oliver Barker in 3rd place. So over the start-finish line there will go. And now time is very much running out for Danny Keeley. Looks as though, if anything, Oliver Barker in 3rd place has started to drop away a shade more from Jack Lang. Both of them running a little bit wide coming out of Copse Corner. Again, just suggesting they need to be careful of that. You can see, yeah, Jack Lang now in 2nd place is pulling away. Oliver Barker is having to defend a lot more than ideally he would wish, and that's allowing the number 2 car of the current championship leader, Jack Lang, to begin to pull away. As Oliver Barker is being held up now, trying to defend from the charging Danny Keeley, who is looking to try and get himself firmly in the slipstream, this time heading up the Hanger Straight. You can see that Oliver Barker's jinking over to the right-hand side of the circuit to protect the inside line for the braking area for Stowe Corner, and Danny Keeley can't quite unlock the door to a podium place that time through as they flick their way through the right-hander at Stowe, and then from there they start to descend back downhill in towards the braking area for the Vale, and all of this is just allowing Jack Lang a little bit of breathing space between himself and the pair behind. So safely through the Vale, through Club Corner, they'll work their way over what is the Grand Prix start-finish line and the wing building to their right-hand side. And all of the time, Oliver Barker working harder than he would like to do ideally in what are very, very warm conditions here at Silverstone. The drivers will be hot, the cars will be hot, the tyres will be very hot, and Danny Keeley is hugely hot to try and work his way through into the podium place. Again, good defensive work by Oliver Barker sees him hang on to 3rd position. But this is a great little fight between what is still really a trio. Jack Lang sort of hasn't made good his escape fully as yet, but he can just now concentrate on the road ahead rather than particularly having to watch what's going on in his mirrors because they're just too far away to attack. So in towards Brooklands they will come yet again. The blue car with its white flashes, number 22 of Oliver Barker, swings his way through the left corner, flicks the car through the right-hander, and then from there you can get on the gas coming out of what is Luffield Corner and accelerate the car up towards Woodcote Corner and the end of the lap. So it's another lap chalked into the book. It's another lap which still sees no change in the order. Still Jack Lang from Oliver Barker and then the car of Danny Keeley. This is for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Let's not forget that up the road and leading the race by a huge margin now is Bradley Smith. He's built up almost a 10-second advantage now between himself and this little trio that sit behind. But Oliver Barker is the driver that's having to do the hardest work of all at this stage. I suspect if Danny Keeley could pick his way through, a bit like when he was behind Steve Burgess, he would be faster and would pull away, but he's got to try and work his way through and ahead. So on to the last lap. Turning his way through Stowe Corner comes Bradley Smith, who at the moment is looking as though he is on course to gain another victory. We didn't see Bradley out at Spa-Francorchamps, but we did see him claim 2 race victories at Donington Park, and he is on course for victory number 3 of the season. As in towards the breaking air for the Vale for the final time comes Jack Lang, with Oliver Barker still having to defend all of the time from Danny Keeley. He's just not going away, is he, Danny Keeley? And Oliver Barker is going to have nightmares about that red and yellow car in his sleep tonight, because it's been a fantastic drive from Danny Keeley. Had the start have been a little bit better when the lights went out, what could have been in this race, but he's got the opportunity to make things up over the course of the weekend, and at the moment he's still got the opportunity to try and squeeze his way through into a podium place, but there's only another couple of corners to go in reality, so they're into the loop for the final time. Aintree Corner isn't really an overtaking opportunity, but a good drive out of it could throw him an opportunity through Brooklands or Luffield Corner, which is where they'll be heading to shortly, as our race leader turns his way through the left-hander at Brooklands for the final time. It looks as though it is going to be victory number 3 of the season for Bradley Smith, who then accelerates out of Luffield Corner, up towards Woodcote Corner, onto the National Pit Straight, and it does look as though he is on for win number 3 of the season so far in the 2017 Radical Challenge Championship. Bradley Smith claims the win. Who's going to finish in second place? It is still, by the look of things, going to be Jack Lang, who is just hanging on to it as they head over the start-finish line. It is Jack Lang in second position, Oliver Barker in third place, and the charging Danny Keeley will finish in 4th position. We should see coming through in 5th place, it is going to be Steve Burgess in 5th place, and yes, the pink car of Richard Baxter will complete the top 6. So 3 wins so far this season for the number 21 car in the hands triple Radical champion Bradley Smith. Confirmation of the results then: Bradley Smith takes the win from Jack Lang in second position, Oliver Barker in third, Danny Keeley was fourth ahead of Steve Burgess and Richard Baxter to complete the top 6. Sean Byrne, Dominic Jackson in 7th place, and in 8th place winning the team championship is Lee Bailey. Let's hear from the winners.
So Bradley, after not doing Spa, you've come to Silverstone and taken the victory straight away. You must be elated. Yeah, it's been great. You know, the team have worked so hard and given me a fantastic car. Pretty tough out there, you know, a little bit of oil down on the grid at the start, but managed to make a decent getaway and just focus on what was in front. Fantastic. Looking forward now to race 2 as well. Yeah, definitely. So another 20-minute sprint and then also the endurance. So yeah, definitely going to be feeling the burn tomorrow.
We had a great start, got for 30 seconds. And from there we didn't quite have the pace of Bradley or even Ollie behind us, so we just had to crack on, keep our position and make the most of the race, which we did. We're extended our points advantage, so all happy. Fantastic. Is Silverstone a favourite track of yours? I'm really good. We really like it in the wet. In the dry, we've never been that fast. I think the Snetterton and Brands Hatch are our ace tracks.
Qualified P4 and managed to make a really good start and get up to 3rd. From then on it was just a matter of trying to attack Jack Lang, who was really quick today, and we were quite even throughout the race, but then towards the race, at the end of the race I had someone else catching me, and so I had a matter of going into defence mode for the last 2-3 laps, and yeah, we managed to hold on to the podium, which was great. It's not been the best weekend for me so far, but I'm overall pleased with 3rd.
That's all from race 1 of the weekend at Silverstone. Join us in a few moments' time for race 2.